Welcome to Daila's show. I'm your host, Daila, and today I have a great guest for you. Guess what? The only female presidential candidate in the race 2021 elections in Uganda. Welcome, Nancy Kalembe. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, as we all know, women outside there, they have been inspired by your move to come run for presidency, and they're very excited about you, as so far the women I've talked to, and they would like to know, how did you come up with this? When did it start? Did you start since childhood feeling like you want to run for presidency, or it's something that just came abruptly?
Well, thank you very much for having me here. My journey to becoming the president of our country started when I was 14 years old. I knew when I was 14 that I was going to be the next president of Uganda.
Wow.
And I started working towards that. I told my friends about it in class. Of course, they laughed it off. Told my sisters and brothers, and of course, they didn't take me seriously. But I continued working at it and preparing myself. So I started finding mentors. Some of the first mentors I got didn't really take me seriously, so they couldn't mentor me. So as I grew older, I changed the technique. I didn't tell them, I need you to mentor me because I want to be the next president of our country. I told them I want you to mentor me for leadership. So many of them thought, okay, that's nice. I can mentor you for leadership. And the story went on that way. Some of them advised me to go to leadership school, read certain books, prepare myself mentally, watch other leaders, speakers, and see how to improve my mind. I was told that to be a good leader, you had to be spiritually fit, physically fit, and mentally fit. Wow. So since I was already a sportswoman, physically fit was not a problem.
Of course.
Mental fitness needed constant reading and learning from people, having conversations, and hearing what people have to say, because you learn every day. Spiritual fitness is basically closet time.
I know.
Time with God. No way around that one.
That's so interesting. So you're a spiritual woman. You believe in God?
Of course I believe in God. I wouldn't be this far. I would never have survived this long if I didn't believe in God.
I know.
That's the only way I know how to live. You either believe in God, or I don't know how else to live.
With that good. So who inspired you? Who's your role model? Maybe among the people, the women.
Well, I have several role models. Her Excellency Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, former president of Liberia. It's amazing how she led. Most importantly for me is that she was able to change government without bloodshed. She did it peacefully. I think that is what caught my eye the most. So I like that about her. And her humility. She's a very humble woman. I like that about her. Among the men, I like Jose Mujica, the former president of Uruguay. I like him because when I met him, not physically, on TV, I felt liberated. I felt free to be myself. I didn't have to be like all other presidents, put up a show and all that. I could be myself and still be a good leader. He was humble. He lived in his humble life, in his home that he wanted. He drove the car that he really wanted. He didn't care what people thought. He didn't have to live a facade and live a a pretentious life, trying to live in mansions that he really didn't want to. He didn't have to go around in a motorcade, and he didn't want to. He lived his simple life, drove his old Volkswagen, lived on his farm. I like farming.
Okay.
That's why you saw a little garden outside my house.
Okay.
I like farming, and I just liked the simplicity of his life. And hopefully Ugandans will see a new kind of leader, one who cares more about what they're doing for the people and what they're living in people's lives, other than amassing wealth and being self-centered.
I get it.
Yeah.
So how did you gather the courage, as many women outside there, they feel like they are not fit for the presidential seat because they still have this inferiority, thinking that they belong to the kitchen, as Napoleon said. And when it comes to our system, to the African political system and social system, they believe women belong to homes and they're supposed to do that. So how did you gain the courage and come up with this?
You've heard me say several times that my name is Kalembe Nancy Linda, the daughter of the Most High God. If my father is God, then what can't I do? The Bible says I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So whatever I put my mind to, I can do
it.
As long as I put my mind to doing something. So if I know that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, then I don't care what society says can be done or cannot be done by women. My standard, I don't follow the standard of society. I follow a different standard. And there's an interesting movie I watched, Akila the Bee. Did you watch it? It was about a spelling competition and this little girl. There was a quote in there that is very powerful. And I can't quote it all, but it said something like this, I'll paraphrase, that if you don't allow yourself to shine, to reach your greatest potential, you're blocking others behind you from seeing who they can really be. So the more you push yourself,
they also gain the courage.
Someone will be encouraged by your move, and they'll also aim higher.
You inspire them.
You inspire them. So every time anybody says, I can't do this, and they block their greatest potential, their fault is that they have blocked somebody else behind them who was looking up at them.
I know.
So I've always decided, if I need to do something, is it good? Is it a good thing to do? Will it serve a greater good and a greater purpose? Yes. So what is blocking me from doing it? Nothing. So I go ahead and do it. Okay. I refuse to be blocked by what society thinks, how much is presumed for it to cost. Most times people say, how much will it cost? How long does it take to achieve that? I mean, we're still alive. It's only when you're dead that you can say, I can't do if you can't speak. You'll tell yourself when you're dead, I can't, because you can't.
You can't, you're not alive.
But for as long as you're still alive, human beings can achieve so many great things just like we have. We made flying objects. We can talk to people 10,000 miles away on a small gadget. We've gone to the moon. We've healed diseases that were once impossible to heal. So what makes one think that these things were designed, these spaces were designed for only men? When God created mankind, He put His spirit in us, meaning man, woman, doesn't matter. We have the Spirit of God. So any divisions that women can't do this and men can do this is a lie from the devil, it's not the truth.
Really. When we base on the Bible, it tells us God created Adam and Eve. So meaning Adam is supposed to be superior, and when Adam is superior to this woman, Eve, right? So the woman is created to become the helper. So I expect clarifying that. Why don't you become the helper instead of being superior? Because I think if you become the president of the country, that means that you're superior. You're in the highest position of the country.
Um, I think you got that one wrong. Adam was helpless. That is why God needed to make him a helpmate, someone who could help him. You've seen countries that are run by women and how well they are run. Good example is most recently during the COVID pandemic. The countries that were run by women have had a better fighting chance against COVID-19. Back home, I don't know if you're old enough to have known Kampala City Council when it was being run by men. When Jennifer Musisi came on the scene, everything changed. URA, the same thing. It was run by men before. Then Madam Allen Kajina came in and sorted URA out. Uganda needs help. We've had a lot of male presidents. Clearly they are helpless. They need a helpmate. And that is why I'm coming right now. Because Uganda needs a feminine touch.
Don't you think you would have been the vice president since you were a helper?
You see, vice president to who?
To the president, whoever would
A
be
lot of
the president,
times,
since you're a helper.
a lot of times when you are helping someone, they need to have a bigger vision. So you can help and feed into that vision. In this particular time, most of the male leaders we have very small visions. It's all about their legacy, their personal wealth, their egos. It's all about them. That vision is too small. God's vision for Uganda and for Africa is much bigger than someone owning a street of apartments, owning a fleet of cars, having their name being called and attached, Your Excellency. A lot of our leaders, the men we've had, see serving in the presidential seat as a job to glorify themselves. That's a very small vision for me to serve under. When you're dealing with nations, Uganda is a great nation whose potential has failed to fully come out because the people at the helm have been small-minded. That is why they have constantly held on to power, because they believe that this is the ultimate, I have to hold on to it. Being president of Uganda is not the ultimate. You're here to serve and move on. You allow God to lift you up. After serving as president, I'll be able to ask God, I've served, what next? Because I know that I serve a very great God, and it has nothing to do with being glorified as a small god in Uganda. And that is the problem we have. So, unfortunately, I haven't seen a president who was a male person who has presented themselves for presidency and their vision is big enough for me to serve under.
Oh, okay. So if you become the president of Uganda, 2021, like how are you going to manage balancing being a mother of your children and being the mother of the whole country as Uganda?
How have men managed balancing being fathers of their households and fathers of Uganda?
But you know that being a father it's a small responsibility compared to being
the more reason
mother
why
and a
Uganda
wife.
needs a mother for a president, because women are built to multitask. You're watching TV, you're listening to your child, you're thinking about the food and the cakes you've left in the oven, and at the same time you're thinking the dogs have not eaten, the scaries need this, and your work needs this. We're able to multitask. We've been given a brain that can handle many tasks at the same time. Very many times, men are not gifted like us. That is why we're given the delicate role of nurturing. So when it comes to balancing work and home, for women it's actually easy. That is why you find great mothers being great leaders. But very many times you find that great leaders who are men have probably neglected a part of their roles at home. Women, it's not the same. You can be a wife, a mother, a president,
Really.
It comes easy. We can juggle many balls at the same time and not drop any.
So what do you have to say to men who are there and they think that they're not going to give you their vote because they think you're going to empower women out there and they're going to neglect their responsibilities as wives and mothers to their kids and run for presidential positions or any political positions?
I think Ugandans have moved away from that. We've morphed really over the years. It's surprising, I have a lot of support from the men.
Seriously?
A lot of the people who have actually contributed financially are men. A lot of the people who have prepared me for this time have been men. All my mentors, actually, not all, I have a few female mentors, but most of my mentors are men. And they're the ones who have told me every day, don't give up, push on, do this. So I think Ugandans have moved away from a woman can't lead me. As long as they see leadership qualities in someone, they're willing to work with you. I'm a Christian first and foremost. So being a leader does not mean that I trample over somebody else. A leader is supposed to uplift others, not crush them. We've had our current president saying that he will crush anyone who tries to take his country from him. And he's said this publicly several times. Leadership is not about crushing others. Leadership is about lifting people up, lifting them up and training them. If you identify leadership qualities in someone, you're supposed to help nurture them. Because the true mark of a leader is actually seen years after you've left. How many leaders have you mentored? That is when we see a true leader. But if you're a leader and we cannot see anybody you've actually mentored, if you've heard the president say he has not seen anybody sensible enough to take up his role, that means for 35 years he has done a bad job.
Because he has not mentored.
He has not mentored anyone. That means that's a very bad mark on him. That's not true leadership. True leadership is you pour yourself into other people. So that you lift them up, so that you nurture them, so that you make them great. You're supposed to make them greater than you. A good teacher is seen by their students. A good teacher makes sure that their students rise up and get greater than them. That's how you know a good teacher. Not a teacher who glorifies themselves. So we've seen bad leadership in this country. It's time to see good leadership. And when the men have been supporting me, they know, they can see that surely you have the mark of a leader. It's not about self-gratification. To what end? The beauty is when it comes to women leaders, you're not fighting for your ego. I'm not there to show somebody that, see me, I'm a woman. I mean, biologically I am. I don't have to prove it. I believe that I should be in service and use my femininity to serve others, to nurture others, and make this space reachable and achievable so that the children out there who are growing, the young people who are growing can say, that is achievable. Make it look as easy as possible so that more people can come and mentor them. In 5 years, who knows? If I feel like I have served my part, maybe I will not even run for a second term. But if I do run for a second term, I believe, I've been thinking about this for some time. In my second term, I'll dedicate my time to mentor the next generation of leaders, the next generation of presidents. Because now, it's not only about raising the next president of Uganda, no. I'm thinking beyond Uganda. Mentor the next level of leaders across Africa, across the globe. It's not about this place. That's why you see our leaders have been focusing on Uganda. That's why they fight. They fight, and it's like children fighting over small toys. Yet there's a whole world out there.
Okay. So how would you tell people, how would you convince people that you're not going to enjoy the presidency and want to remain there for the long time we've seen others do in Africa?
You see, we say you have to study history to understand the present. Ugandans, we've always voted parties, voted tribes maybe, voted religions. But this time I pray that Ugandans will vote character. You see, somebody has to have a track record of something. What have they been doing? While they were doing what they were doing, how did they serve? I have served in different organizations. I've served in different industries. And one of the things that I do when I get into an office is I start to identify who is going to come after me. And I start to train them. I start to see who is going to work here after me. Because I knew where I was going, I knew that my time span for every office I sat in was between 3 to 5 years, 3 to 5 years. And I would serve and start mentoring somebody else too. I set up an oil company. Everybody knows how well oil pays.
I know.
But as soon as I set up, I started identifying people that I could train to take on my role after I've left. Why? Because I knew that at a certain time I needed to leave. And as I said earlier, for me, becoming president of Uganda is not the ultimate goal. There's something greater. So I need to serve and serve really well so that my father can take me to the next thing.
Okay. Uganda currently has problems like unemployment, and currently the rate of unemployment is at 14.5% in the youth. What are you going to do to change that?
You have had my programs. I've been talking about how we are going to fight this economic plunge that we've been in. And poverty comes mostly because people are unemployed. But we know that the poverty in this country has been artificially created by this government that has not been having a heart for our nation. And basically they need to step down and someone more qualified will step up. Not that I need their permission. When it comes to unemployment, we've identified 4 tools that my government will use. And the first one is community businesses. Community businesses will hit several birds with the same stone. Number 1, we will prevent rural-urban migration. And we will be able to give people jobs in their localities, in their homes. Community businesses will be able, let me give an example. When we get into a community that, for example, grows pineapples or grows maize or rears different kinds of animals, the elders usually own the land, but they can't work it because they're too old or too weak. However, if you start a community business in that place, the younger people will till the land or will take care of the animals in that place. And the older people will benefit from that land because they will be earning from it as well. Now, when the youth are getting these jobs, guess what? Our government will come in and partner with the community businesses in the different parts of this country so that we can empower them to employ more people in their vicinity. So if we start a food processing plant in a particular village X, let's give Luwera as an example, where pineapples are grown. So what happens in that place? How many products can you actually get out of a pineapple? And how many jobs will you have created from putting a processing plant in that area? It's not only juice or pineapple jam or anything. We know that there are other products that come out of pineapples, like pinna fiber, which is a material, a very expensive cloth that in ancient Spain was used for wedding clothes and royal clothes, royal apparel. It's still very expensive even today, by the way. When you go to a place where they grow groundnuts, what happens? There are over 200 products that come out of groundnuts, but a lot of Ugandans don't know. So when you identify these and you bring food scientists, you bring business teachers, economists, and help people in the different communities identify what it is they can do in these spaces. Work with Uganda Export Promotions Board. What will happen? It means more jobs will be created, not by the government. So the youth are not going to necessarily be employed by the government, but they will be able to create their own jobs. When I visited Israel a few years ago, I came across what they call the kibbutz, villages where they are self-reliant. If you have cows, someone else produces the veterinary medication for the cows, someone else produces the food, someone else has a plant for processing beef, another has a plant for processing milk and dairy products, and a whole village is benefiting from this one activity, which is dairy. But right now in Uganda, we don't have that kind of setting in communities yet that is spread across the country. That is one of the things I'd like to do. Secondly, we'd like to put incubation centers across the country. Right now, incubation centers are only accessible by the educated. But when the women in the market are making munanasi, which is from the pineapple peels, if they had access to incubation centers, wouldn't they improve their products, perhaps brand them, perhaps export them? Why do we have to only have incubation centers accessible by the educated, maybe university students? Everybody should be able to access incubation centers, because incubation centers help nurture whatever idea you have, and they help you build it to a product that can be sold.
Okay.
So the incubation centers will be set up in different regions of this country, different districts, different localities, so that ordinary people can access incubation centers. They get business help, basic financial literacy, so that you don't just get into a business and not benefit from it. So that by the time you get out of it, not only have you developed a product, but you've also developed your business mindset. And you understand finance better, because if you can teach a 5-year-old financial management, basic financial management, how much more business people who are willing to actually work? The third thing is talent development centers. I mean, a lot of people know I was a sportswoman, but how much talent out there is not nurtured? My government will be able to nurture talent so that the youth in this country will be able to turn their talents into money-making ventures. We consume football from Europe. We consume movies from America. We consume music from all over the world. But how much musical talent, dance talent, sports talent, acting talent has been neglected in our country? And yet we celebrate those from Europe and America. My government will harness all those talents and see how we can develop them, work with them, and they can turn their talents into money-making ventures.
Okay.
The fourth tool that we intend to use is the innovation centers. We're using phones. That's not an innovation by a Ugandan. We get on planes. That's not a Ugandan innovation. We drive cars. That's not a Ugandan innovation. We use electricity. That's not a Ugandan innovation. We are using a camera right now. That's not a Ugandan innovation. My government will set up innovation centers across the country so that Ugandan great minds can actually come and be supported. We will be able to support the youth to build prototypes of their innovations. We'll get artists to help them draw them out, engineers to actually make them move and work and operate, business incubators to come and help them turn their innovation into a business. That way my government will be helping our society grow holistically. It's not about just getting power and consuming it and it's about handing over the power to others, empowering others to grow so that we can grow together.
Okay. So how are you going to handle the problem of teenage pregnancies that is also affecting the country?
You've heard the term, an empty mind is the devil's workshop.
Yeah.
So when teenagers are idle, they get the next best activity. Apparently the next best activity these days is sex, so they just happen to be indulging in something that is going to block their future and interfere with their future in one way or another. That is why there's a lot of teenage pregnancies. In my government, as I've just discussed about the different activities we'll be coming up with, when you keep youth busy, the youthful stage is the most productive stage of life. Productive in every way. Productive economically, productive mentally, productive spiritually. That's why you see a lot of missionaries started in their youth. A lot of businessmen, great businessmen, started in their youth. Bill Gates started in his youth. A lot of families start in the youth. So a lot of teenage pregnancies are starting in the youth because they just happen to be productive. How about we redirect their energies and give them something else to do that will make them productive in other areas so they can delay their biological production until a time when they can actually facilitate that which they are producing. So my government intends in different ways to engage the youth
and
in different activities that will keep them busy, whether it's business, whether it's sports, whether it's acting, so that the people of Uganda can actually realize their dreams. My government will be telling people by the mere fact that I have become president, something that has never been seen in Uganda, that a woman is president, a lot of people's aspirations will rise. They'll know, if she can become president, I can also become whatever I want to become. My becoming president is beyond me just serving Ugandans every day and ensuring that the economy grows, that the health sector is improved, that the education sector is overhauled, and all the other activities I'll do. My becoming president has more to just doing. It has more about people realizing their greatest potentials. So getting pregnant will not be rampant in my time, because then people's energies will be focused elsewhere. You see, a lot of pregnancies, especially in the rural areas, has a connection with financial. There is a financial connection to it. Why? Because a girl comes from a poor family. There's a boy who can give her 2,000 shillings or 1,000 shillings a day. Then she gets excited. And the boy wants benefits. So there's an exchange. So a lot of girls are not getting pregnant because they want to get pregnant. They're getting pregnant because there's an economic benefit.
Okay.
So there are cash problems. My government will ensure that with these community businesses I've talked about and all these programs that we're going to build around the economic sector, it will trickle down and start affecting people positively. Okay. If people realize I can make the money myself, that means I don't have to sleep with that boy to give me money. I don't have to sleep with that man to get the money. I can make the money myself. So that women can now learn that I don't have to get married because I need that man to take care of me. I need to get married because I love him. I need to get married because this is the design of God. I need to have children because I'm at this time I'm being a co-creator with God. I need to have a family because this is what I want to do. I want to serve. I want to raise the next generation to be God-fearing citizens. I would like good citizens in this country. So women will get away from getting pregnant because there's a financial benefit, to getting pregnant because they want to, getting married because they want to. It is an honor. It is a blessing to get married, to get pregnant and have children. It's actually a blessing at the right time.
So that's so good. How are you going to uproot the corruption problem that is happening?
Oh, that one. You see, corruption is about complacency. When a government in power decides to be complacent, evil starts to work unsupervised. This current government has unsupervised evil rampaging our streets and our corridors of power. Corruption in my time will be dealt with differently. It's not a slap on the wrist and you go. It's not bring it back and you're set free. No one will be above the law in my time. If we have a constitution and you're a Ugandan citizen or you're living in Uganda, you live within the law. When it comes to corruption, I've always said this, and it has been said in our local dialects, it is said that the days of a thief are 40. When they catch a thief, it means their 40 days have elapsed, right?
Yeah.
My government will follow that traditional saying that by the time we catch you being corrupt, when you're caught as a thief, it means your 40 days have elapsed. If we catch you stealing 100 million, and it means your 40 days have lapsed. They're finished. What have you stolen in the 40 days that we don't know about? So if your net worth is 30 billion, we will collect all of it because we will not know which was stolen and which was earned. And in my government, corruption will be dealt with very harshly. Not compromising, not with soft gloves, no. It will be dealt with very harshly. We catch you stealing 100 million and you have 30 billion worth of investments, we will collect all of it, put it back in the consolidated fund, and use that money to build roads, use that money to build better hospitals, use that money to equip hospitals, use that money to build village schools and equip village schools. Because we don't know. COVID money was collected. Has it been accounted for? Where is it?
Nowhere.
We know that
Well,
money
been
was
waiting for
stolen that was supposed to be used for TB patients. Money for mosquito nets. Money for valley dams. Where is all this money? There is money that has been misappropriated so much in my government. That will be a non-negotiable. You know how Americans say they do not negotiate with terrorists? My government will not negotiate with corrupt officials. End of story.
Okay. What would you tell people okay, sorry, can we repeat that? It's fine. How are you going to convince people to entrust you with their vote, not to vote for any other president? What difference do you have? What difference are you going to do for people that any other president in the country has, any other president of Uganda has never done?
I think right now, Ugandans are fed up of this current system. They're fed up of this current government. They're looking for change. And Ugandans will take any change, and they've been ready for any change. The difference I've brought on the scene, I've showed Ugandans what true leadership is all about. In the beginning, I was the 11th candidate, the female candidate. And as I started out in my campaigns, everybody thought, well, she won't manage. The country is so big, she'll not go around it. Guess what? As I speak right now, I've covered more districts than any of the other 10 male candidates across the country. While the male candidates have been fighting and flexing with their egos, insulting each other and reducing themselves to leaders who want to fight, like they are fighting for toys, like Uganda is a toy. I have been drumming in a message of hope among Ugandans. I have been telling Ugandans we need a leader of character, a leader who's going to unify this nation. We already so fragmented along tribal lines, along religious lines, along political lines. I've come as an independent candidate, as a mother of this nation, as the next president of this nation, to gather the children of Uganda together. We are 56 tribes in this country, and my mission is to the 56 tribes of this country. That is why we say Mission 56. Our mission, my mission, is to the 56 tribes of this country, to gather them into one nation, under one God, so that we can be able to serve one another. Not trounce on one another, not crush one another, not insult one another. You've seen how lately our leadership has turned into just mere cheap politics. It's about which political party is stronger than the other, who can insult the other more, who can use the army more than the other, who can use tear gas more than the other, who can... It's like child's play. I've been able to show Ugandans what true leadership is all about. Leadership of dignity, leadership of integrity, leadership that actually has a heart for this nation. Not leadership that is going to try and suck everything out of this country, but leadership that is willing to sacrifice. and go all the way. I didn't go around this country because it was easy or because I had the finances. I went out to meet these people, the Ugandans, so that I can understand them better, so that I can know their pain, live in the places they live. So I've not been living in expensive hotels everywhere I've gone. I've been living where? In the more affordable hotels. For two reasons. One, because it was more affordable. Two, because you're more approachable. People can easily walk up to you and say, you know what, if you want to run for presidency, what are you going to do for me? You see, my problem is A, B, C, D, E, F, G. If you can do that, then I'll vote for you. So it's made me more approachable. And as a mother, you know how it is in a house. A lot of times we fear to go to the father, but the mother is always more approachable. You go to her and tell her all your problems. You can cry to her and she'll comfort you and give you solutions. And that is what this campaign has been all about, to get to know the children of Uganda, so that when I am given the opportunity to be president of this country, I will take my motherhood from this level to this level and serve Ugandans selflessly. Mothers wake up earliest and sleep last. Not because they have extra battery. It's because they live sacrificial lives. Even when you're sick, you pull yourself out of bed and go and serve the children. You pull yourself out of bed even when you're in pain and you mask your pain so that you can make sure that the children are comfortable. That is motherhood. And I intend to bring every fiber of motherhood that I have in me as I come to serve the people of Uganda.
Right. Okay, as we finalize, what advice do you have for women outside there who fear themselves, who are inferior, who feel like they cannot stand out for what they believe in and what they want to be, yet they want to become great people, and what do you have for them?
My fellow women, my fellow ladies, my fellow mothers, there's a poem that was written many years ago, and it describes the day God created the female. An angel Gabriel walks up to him and says, haven't you put too much in this model? There's actually a leak because angel Gabriel saw a tear, and God tells him it is not a leak, that is a tear to express joy, a tear to express sadness. I've put too much in this model because this model can handle too much. Women have forgotten who they really are. And my message to you, fellow women, is that it is time to remember who you are, your true identity. You've listened to many lies, what you can do and what you can't do. Your roles have been defined, modeled out for you, cut out for you. Ceilings have been built above you, and doors have been shut, windows have been closed, and you have been caged in. And these are the lies you've grown up believing. I'm here to tell you today that when God was creating you, He saw so much potential in you. That is why in some cartoons, in some images of women, they are given 6 or 8 hands, because you carry the husband, carry the children, carry the housework, carry the job, carry the bosses, carry everywhere you go, you're carrying and supporting and helping. That's why in some images you've seen women with 6 or 8 hands, because God has given us the ability to do so much more. But society has taught us to cut off some of our hands and be told what we can do and what we cannot do. I'm here to tell you, we've been asking for help from the government. Next year, not anymore. Because we, the women and the mothers of this nation, will be the help that our nation needs to become great. It is possible. Lee Kuan Yew did it. He turned Singapore from a third world nation to a first world nation. Ugandan leaders have so far failed. It is time to give women an opportunity to come out, stand out, and be counted. Come and join me. vote for me, stand with me, support me whichever way you can, whether it's financial, moral, spiritual. I need your prayers. And together, let's win this. When I am president, our daughters will start listening to a different story. So let's work together and win together, because women are stronger than anyone has ever imagined. Let's come out of our shells and shine like the true pearls we are. May God bless you.
Nancy Kalem, it's been nice having you here.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we are praying for the best.
Thank you.
I wish you the best in this race.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. May God bless you. I wish you a very successful career.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Thanks for watching, and this, I think it is going to help you to choose the right leader. And remember, we're going to vote wisely. And I think you've heard enough from Nancy Kalembe. That's what she has for you. You're going to know what to do next. Thanks for watching, and I would like to remind you to subscribe to get more of my videos, and you're going to enjoy this holiday. Thank you very much.